Shedeur Sanders obliterates collegiate records in Browns practice. Shadur Sanders unleashed a performance so extraordinary that Browns coaches were left frozen mid-play. And now the NFL is demanding answers. Coaches are stunned, speechless. Give me 7 games and a shot at the league. That's the sentiment echoing through the Browns' OTA sessions as they ramp up. This is a franchise that went from a playoff berth in 2023 to just 3 wins last season, a painful pattern for Cleveland. So now the questions resurface. Who will be the starting quarterback, and will they deliver? Deshaun Watson is sidelined. Joe Flacco remains on the roster. Rookies Dillon Gabriel and Shadur Sanders are waiting in the wings. Offensive coordinator Tommy Rees shared thoughts on the quarterback room, starting with Sanders. He's grinding, putting in serious effort. You can tell mentally he's absorbed in the system, learning the cadence, internalizing the rhythm. When that mental prep hits a certain level, the game slows down. He's locating completions and doing a solid job at it. Call it revenge, best served cold. Except Shadur didn't keep it cool. He ignited a wildfire. And now, the entire NFL is feeling the heat from a quarterback who plummeted 144 picks into the draft, behind players who never even started a college game, only to walk into Browns practice and detonate expectations. His coach stopped mid-sentence. Mouths dropped. Turf met jaw. These weren't ordinary throws. They were redefining the ceiling of professional play. Precision so surgical that NFL veterans began questioning their own skills. It wasn't just impressive, it was seismic. And now whispers are swelling. Did the Browns just stumble onto their franchise messiah by pure accident? Here's the twist. What transpired that day wasn't merely rare. It bordered on statistically implausible, historic, unheard of. And once you hear the specifics, you'll understand why coaches are calling it the most jaw-dropping practice performance ever recorded. I've covered this league for years. I've seen QB controversies, breakout stars, shocking upsets. But what's happening in Cleveland right now? This isn't a storyline, it's a franchise-altering earthquake. Let me rewind you to April 2025. Draft night, round 2 wraps up. And Shadur Sanders, the same quarterback who amassed over 8,000 yards in his final 2 college seasons, is still sitting in the green room, unselected, unwanted. Teams were drafting kickers, long snappers, career backups. Meanwhile, the most polished passer in the entire draft class was watching his NFL dream slip away in real time. Imagine that heartbreak. You're Shadur Sanders. You post a 6.5% off-target rate, 3rd lowest in college football. Your passes are so precise, your receivers barely slow down to catch them. You're throwing dimes other QBs wouldn't even attempt. And yet, 143 names are called before yours. The narrative? He's not NFL ready. He folds under pressure. All style, no substance. Team after team looked away. The Giants grabbed a no-name linebacker. The Seahawks drafted a Division II safety. The Cowboys, in desperate need of quarterback depth, selected a punter. But in the midst of this free fall, the Browns were watching, studying, plotting. And when the 144th pick rolled around, they pounced. To most, it looked like a depth move, a developmental project, a third-string clipboard holder. But that's not the story playing out. Fast forward to July 2025. Training camp. Berea, Ohio. A typical muggy summer morning. The QB room? Stacked. Joe Flacco, Super Bowl MVP, Kenny Pickett, former first-rounder, Dylan Gabriel, promising third-round pick, and Shadur Sanders, the draft's forgotten son. Initially, Sanders was what you'd expect, learning the scheme, timing up with receivers, solid but not sensational. That changed on Tuesday, July 16th. Mark the date, Cleveland. Practice began with typical routines, individual drills, position work, but when it shifted to team drills, everything changed. Sanders stepped into the huddle with a different energy. It was tangible. Teammates locked in. Coaches leaned forward. Even equipment managers stopped what they were doing. Then came the storm. 15 straight completions. Not checkdowns. Not easy outs. Missiles. Needles threaded through eyelids. Veterans shook their heads in disbelief. Every throw required elite anticipation, unreal touch, and uncoachable arm talent. But that was just the warm-up. Then came red zone drills, the death trap for young QBs. And what Sanders did next? That's the part breaking every known college record and rewriting NFL expectations entirely. Shadur Sanders shatters practice records, ignites quarterback frenzy in Cleveland. When the field shrinks, the pressure mounts. For most rookie quarterbacks, especially fifth-round selections, just managing a clean rep without tossing an interception is considered a win. But Shadur Sanders didn't come to survive. He came to set fire to the record books. 27 consecutive touchdown passes. Let that sink in. 27 in a row. To put that into context, the previous benchmark for consecutive touchdowns in any NFL practice, rookie or veteran, was 16. Sanders didn't break that record. He annihilated it. He took it out back, buried it 6 feet under, and salted the earth so it could never rise again. But here's where the story goes from impressive to insane. These weren't screens or safe slants. They were grown man throws. Back shoulder fades to the pylon. Lasers through triple coverage. Lofted touch passes layered perfectly between linebackers and safeties. The kind of throws that don't just land on highlight reels. They win Super Bowls. One throw in particular had the entire Browns coaching staff on the brink of meltdown. Third down, goal line, chaos. The defense brought the house. Sanders stepped up, sensed the blindside pressure, and, without even looking, flicked a no-look spiral to the back corner of the end zone. His receiver barely moved. The ball descended like it was gift-wrapped by the football gods. Head coach Kevin Stefanski stood there slack-jawed. The new offensive coordinator, whoever took over for Ken Dorsey, was scribbling furiously. Even the defenders who got scorched strolled over to dap him up. And then he did it again, and again, and again. Because, for Sanders, breaking one record wasn't enough. He came to rewrite the entire playbook. During the deep ball drill, 19 consecutive completions of 20-plus yards. Prior record, 12. During the mobility rollout drill, 100% completion rate. During the 2-minute drill, 4 straight touchdown drives. 0 incompletions. By the end of the session, Sanders had connected on 67 of 70 passes. That's a 95.7% completion rate in an NFL practice against NFL defenders with NFL-level speed and pressure, eye to air. The vibes in the locker room afterward? Unprecedented. Veteran players, men who've logged a decade in the league, were speaking about Sanders like they'd just witnessed a Hall of Famer in the making. Joe Flacco, a Super Bowl MVP who's seen it all, pulled him aside and said, "I've never seen anything like that." But here's what truly shook the building. It wasn't just the stats. It was the swagger, the composure, the command. He didn't look like a rookie praying to impress the staff. He looked like a general on day one of a dynasty. This was a declaration, not a fluke. A message to every front office that passed on him. You made a mistake. I'll make sure you feel it. Every Sunday. And the ripple effects? They're already flooding the league. Here's your ultimate destination for everything Kansas City Chiefs. Over the past decade, the Chiefs have redefined what it means to build a modern NFL dynasty. But as the 2025 season looms on the horizon, even the league's most formidable franchises aren't exempt from pressure. Behind every championship banner and confetti-filled parade lies a front office navigating harsh deadlines, looming salary cap challenges, and agonizing personnel decisions, all in pursuit of maintaining excellence around a generational quarterback. With cornerstone players approaching contract negotiations, veteran stars edging toward the twilight of their careers, and unexpected league-wide opportunities arising, Kansas City enters a critical juncture, one that could define the next decade at Arrowhead. Nothing is promised. Not another Super Bowl push. Not locker room cohesion. Not even coaching staff stability. As tension escalates behind the scenes, the organization faces urgent, high-stakes questions. Can the Chiefs lock in a burgeoning superstar in the secondary before the market skyrockets? Will they fortify the offensive and defensive lines, even if it means setting new financial precedents? Might a polarizing trade shift the balance of power in the AFC, or unravel it altogether? The choices made in the coming weeks will either cement the dynasty's foundation or begin to erode its core. Let's break down the latest developments in Kansas City. But first, a quick favor. If you enjoy deep dives like this, smash that like button. It goes a long way in supporting the channel. Thank you for being part of the Chiefs community. The front office is actively exploring long-term extensions for several rising stars, and at the center of these negotiations is standout cornerback Trent McDuffie. On July 1st, Arrowhead Pride analyst Rohan Chakravarthi conducted a league-wide review of top-tier cornerback contracts and outlined a forward-thinking deal for McDuffie. He emphasized that with the CB market trending upward, the Chiefs would be wise to secure McDuffie's future sooner rather than later. Chakravarthi projected a 3-year, $97 million extension with a staggering $80 million in full guarantees. Factoring in McDuffie's existing rookie deal, which includes the 2025 season and a 5th-year option for 2026, the total payout balloons to $113.24 million. His breakdown highlights how the additional years would essentially be grafted onto McDuffie's rookie-scale contract. For reference, cornerback Derek Stingley Jr. signed a 5-year, $113 million deal with 2 years left on his rookie agreement. Though McDuffie's projected average from new money sits at $32.33 million annually, the blended annual value over 5 years lands closer to $22.65 million, a more feasible figure in today's cap landscape. A glaring inconsistency in the league's collective bargaining rules has also impacted McDuffie's valuation. Despite earning first-team and second-team All-Pro honors, achievements generally more prestigious than Pro Bowl appearances, McDuffie's 5th-year option remains undervalued. That's because the NFL still calculates that option based on Pro Bowl nods, not All-Pro designations, a structural flaw that disadvantages elite performers like McDuffie. Extending his contract now would rectify this inequity and reward exceptional performance that the current framework fails to fully acknowledge. Comparing McDuffie to former Chief Eljarius Sneed further underscores the logic behind this investment. Aside from missing 6 games due to injury as a rookie, McDuffie has been a model of consistency, starting 16 games in both 2023 and 2024 and appearing in 10 playoff matchups across 3 seasons. He turns just 25 this September. Meanwhile, Snead, though similarly versatile, Trace was 27 at the time of his departure and carried more wear and tear. The Chiefs' decision to move on was quickly validated. Snead played just 5 games for Tennessee in 2024 before succumbing to injury, reinforcing Kansas City's belief in McDuffie's long-term reliability and impact. Meanwhile, another key piece of the Chiefs' 2025 puzzle is returning. According to NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport, Kansas City is bringing back their leading rusher from last season, veteran running back Kareem Hunt, on a 1-year, $1.5 million deal. The reunion adds proven depth to the backfield and strengthens the team's offensive identity heading into another championship run. Now 29 years old and turning 30 this August, Kareem Hunt's 2024 campaign marked a powerful redemption arc in Kansas City. Signed in September after an injury sidelined Isaiah Pacheco, Hunt immediately became a steady force in the backfield, ultimately leading the team with 724 rushing yards during the regular season. This signing wasn't just about production, it symbolized a second chance. Originally drafted by the Chiefs in the 3rd round of the 2017 NFL Draft, Hunt burst onto the scene as a dominant starter during his first 2 seasons. But that rise was abruptly halted when a video surfaced showing him assaulting a woman, an incident he initially denied to team officials. The Chiefs released him in November 2018, and Hunt later signed with the Cleveland Browns in February 2019, where he spent 5 seasons rebuilding his image and career. Fast forward to 2024, Hunt returned to Kansas City and almost instantly became the team's featured back. His efforts helped propel the Chiefs to another Super Bowl appearance, this time against the Philadelphia Eagles, marking Hunt's first time playing on the NFL's biggest stage. The new deal also offers Hunt something he hadn't received in the previous 2 seasons, a formal invitation to training camp. Without an official camp invite in either 2023 or 2024, Hunt was relegated to training independently under the guidance of a former high school coach in Ohio. This time around, he'll be fully integrated from day one. That said, the Chiefs' backfield is getting crowded. Along with Pacheco and promising rookie fullback Carson Steele, the team recently signed explosive speedster Elijah Mitchell. With a stacked running back class expected in the upcoming NFL Draft, Kansas City retains ample flexibility to add even more talent if needed. Meanwhile, another critical deadline looms. July 15th, the cutoff for franchise-tagged players to finalize long-term contracts. Guard Trey Smith, one of the league's most consistent interior linemen, has already signed his $23.4 million tender for 2025, ensuring his roster spot if negotiations stall. But if the Chiefs can strike a deal in time, what might that extension look like? Patrick Mahomes stands at the heart of a dynasty teetering between brilliance and chaos, riddled with injuries, surprise breakout stars, and bold trade whispers. As Kansas City braces for another stormy NFL summer, an electrifying saga unfolds. One that will challenge loyalties, demand evolution, and ultimately determine whether the Chiefs can prolong their championship dominance or crumble under the strain of a rapidly evolving roster. From Isaiah Pacheco's uphill resurgence to a rookie lineman's miraculous rehab, from a forgotten wideout turning heads to explosive trade murmurs and the tantalizing prospect of acquiring a generational tight end, let's dive into the seismic shifts reshaping Kansas City. But before we unpack the drama, could I ask a quick favor? If you enjoy our content, please hit that like button. It's a simple gesture that fuels this community. Thank you kindly. Isaiah Pacheco, a comeback or a curtain call? Fans still replay the electrifying flashes from Pacheco's early days in Kansas City. His razor-sharp cuts, relentless drive through loaded fronts, and clutch fourth-quarter bursts that propelled back-to-back AFC title runs. But in 2024, that once unrelenting force cracked under the weight of injuries and attrition. A nagging knee injury sidelined him for half the season, casting a shadow over his promising ascent. His return sparked cautious hope, a shot at rekindling the fire that produced 830 yards and 5 scores as a rookie, followed by an even more explosive 935-yard, 7-touchdown campaign in 2023. But every carry lacked its old electricity. He limped to just 310 yards and 1 touchdown, a stat line almost unrecognizable. Enter Connor Orr of Sports Illustrated, whose latest bombshell ignited Chiefs Kingdom. Kansas City's leading rusher in 2025 may not currently be on the roster. Orr's forecast is driven not by spite, but by sharp analytics. The 2025 running back class is stacked, deeper and more dynamic than previous years, potentially triggering a post-camp free agent frenzy. Orr believes Kansas City will dive into that pool, seeking fresh firepower rather than wagering on Pacheco's return to form. It's not a slight. It's strategic insurance. Will the Chiefs double down on their homegrown bruiser or hedge their bets with outside competition? Their decision will define not just Pacheco's future, but the identity of the entire offense. Josh Simmons, the silent guardian in waiting on paper. The Chiefs' O-line looked formidable, even after parting with Joe Thuney. But in reality, Mahomes' blind side begged for reinforcement. That's why Kansas City traded up for Ohio State's Josh Simmons at number 22, a move that screamed urgency. Towering at 6'5", 317 leads, Simmons was once hailed as a future cornerstone, until a devastating torn patellar tendon during the college football playoff cast doubt on his draft stock. Flacco at the top, then Pickett, then Gabriel, then Shedeur. The assumption: Sanders is a developmental project. Take some preseason snaps, ride the bench, fade into the background. Wrong. That's 2002 logic. The Browns are playing a whole different game now. They're not playing checkers. They're playing chess. Let's get some perspective. In just the last 2 seasons, the Browns have cycled through 9 different starting quarterbacks. That's not a typo. 9. 4 just last season. 5 the year before. That's not depth. That's a crisis. So when people ask, is Shedeur going to play? The real question is, how soon? Because based on history, someone's going down. That depth chart is a revolving door. And when that happens, and it will, who do you trust? A 40-year-old vet on borrowed time? Or a rookie with 4 years of team control and upside bursting at the seams? Let's be honest. Joe Flacco, while heroic in his 2023 run, is 40 years old. Even Grossi called him a physical anomaly and admitted nobody knows if his body can survive another 17-game grind. Then there's Kenny Pickett, essentially a 1-year rental. Not the long-term solution. These aren't franchise cornerstones, they're placeholders, and everybody knows it, including them. Now, here's the part nobody's talking about enough. Rookie contracts. That 4-year deal Shedeur signed? That's not just ink on paper. It's leverage. It's flexibility. It's how you build around a young QB without committing $200 million in guaranteed money. While Watson's deal is anchoring the cap at a ludicrous $36 million, the Browns front office added 4 quarterbacks for a grand total of just $7.5 million against the cap. Thank you guys. See you next video.